Good afternoon. My name's Jeanette Lindsay Clark. Can you tell me your full name, please?
My name is Danielle Belts.
And can you tell me where you're from?
I'm from the Netherlands.
And can I see your identification, please?
Yes, there we go.
Okay, that's fine. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about where you're living now. Tell me about the town or city where you're living at the moment.
At the moment, I am living in Oxford, which is a city that I absolutely love. It's so pretty.
And how long have you been living in this city?
I've been living in this city since September last year, so that's about 5 months, I'd say.
Do you think you will move to a different place in the near future?
In the near future, I don't think so. I'm quite happy where I am. I've got a nice job, so that's. I don't see any reason to move.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk about numbers. What kinds of numbers do you have to remember in your daily life?
In my daily life, I would say my PIN code, door codes and some phone numbers, I suppose.
Do you find it easy to remember numbers?
I've never been very good with numbers, but as soon as I get in the habit of typing something in, I can usually remember.
Was maths one of your favourite subjects at school?
Definitely not. I was not very good at maths, and my dad actually had to help me quite a bit to get a good mark.
Is it important to be good at dealing with numbers in your work or studies?
I think it's quite important that I can handle numbers, but my job doesn't fully focus on numbers as a main priority. It's important that I'm not number blind, but I think I'm all right.
Let's talk about cycling. When did you learn to ride a bike?
Since I'm Dutch, that was very early. I think I was around maybe 5 years old. Yeah, by my dad. I think my dad taught me and definitely fell over a few times.
Is riding a bike popular in your country?
I think we're known for riding bikes a lot. And
why?
Well, we've got really good infrastructure, so we've got lots of cycling paths, and that really helps because cycling is made really easy and safe, so everyone cycles to work, to school.
How easy is it to cycle around the town or city where you live now?
Well, I don't cycle a lot where I live at the moment because the first time I rode a bike, I kind of got hit by a car. So now I'm a little bit scared to get back on my bike.
Okay. Would you like to go on a cycling holiday in the future?
No, I'm not. I like cycling because it's useful for getting me where I need to be, but it's not a hobby of mine, so I wouldn't go on a cycling holiday.
Now, I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Here's some paper and a pencil for making notes. And here's your topic. Please don't write anything on the booklet. Describe something you enjoyed making by hand when you were a child.
Okay.
Now remember, you just have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
So the question was if I could describe something that I enjoyed making as a child, and the first thing that came to mind was I used to make Christmas cards with my mum. We started when I was around 7 years old, and we made them in 3D. So we had different layers that we had to put together with little sticky bits. And I really enjoy doing that because it was a tradition, and I did it with my mum. So we started in November, and we started making Christmas cards for all the friends and acquaintances that sent us a card the year before. If they didn't send us a card the year before, we usually didn't send them one back. And it was quite difficult in the beginning because it's very nitty-gritty, small work. But it got better as I got older, and I think we kept doing it until I was about 13 years old. And the best reason for doing it was really just to spend time with my mum, with Christmas music in the back. And it was always fun seeing the new kinds of cards that they brought out that year. So it was usually some kind of animal, some kind of birds or puppies or whatever. And it was a lot of fun, actually, just spending some quality time together and having Christmas music in the back and cake in the oven and just spending a few hours doing something that was just ours, really.
Can you tell me anything else about that?
I think we started doing it because my grandmother did it as well. So my mum used to do it with her mother, and then I did it with mine. So it's kind of a family tradition that's been passed down.
Do you still make things by hand now?
Not often. I'm not much of an arts and crafts kind of person. I do enjoy making things, but more in a digital way. So perhaps writing or something along those lines, but not so much.
Thank you. Can I take back the booklet, the paper and the pencil, please? Yep. Thanks. Okay. So we've been talking about something you enjoyed making when you were a child, making Christmas cards with your mum. And I'd like to discuss with you 1 or 2 more general questions related to this. Okay, so let's talk about traditional handmade items. Can you tell me what the most popular traditional handmade items are in your country?
I think the most popular would be homemade decorations for holidays. At least that's how I remember it being. My friends did it, I did it, we did it at school. We made like little, almost little decorations to hang in front of the windows.
And why do you think people enjoy making handmade things?
I think it gives you a sense of pride when you can show it off, and I feel like it would be very fulfilling if you're into that kind of thing, to have something that you've made and you didn't just buy in a store.
And why do you think people like to buy handmade items?
I think that some people either feel like they don't have the talent to do it, but would still like the kind of atmosphere or aesthetic that comes from handmade things, but either they can't do it or they feel like they can't do it, and so buying something is a good kind of middle road.
Okay. How important is it, do you think, for people to keep making traditional handmade things these days?
I think with the internet and ordering online and mass production, it's quite important that people keep doing things themselves. It brings a sense of personality in it. I think that getting a handmade scarf that's 2 meters long is way more fun than getting, a mass-produced scarf that anyone could have bought at the local Primark.
Okay, and let's think a bit about manufactured goods. Most things are factory made. So what are the benefits of factory made goods compared to handmade goods?
They are definitely more easily available. You can walk out onto the street, and usually on a high street, and you can buy any kind of item of clothing or a bowl or something along those lines, you can always get it, and sometimes it's easier to buy something than to have to make it yourself because you don't have the means to do it. So I think that's why things like those are really popular, and it's also, it's easy and sometimes cheaper as well.
Do you think that it's a good thing that robots are being used more and more now to produce manufactured goods?
It can be. I definitely think that there's no avoiding it. As robots become more evolved, they'll definitely become more involved in the making process. But I also think that people are going to lose their jobs over it. So it's a bit of a mixed feeling. One, it's a good thing to keep evolving and to keep making new things, including those robots, but it will make a lot of people lose their jobs, which also isn't great.
Do you think that perhaps even if they lose their jobs, there might be other kinds of jobs that could be created?
There could be. There's definitely, for people with high university qualifications, it'll still be easier to get a job because they can, work with the robots and program them. But people who perhaps work on the ground, who do the nitty-gritty small work, who haven't had a big education, might not benefit from it so much.
Could you see a future where perhaps all manufactured goods would be made by factory robots?
In a very dystopian future, I think I could. From my experience, I think most people will want something they'll want what's easiest and what's cheapest, but if they think about it maybe a bit more, they would want something that's made by human hands. So I feel like it might go up. There'll be lots of robots making things the one moment, and then maybe they'll go back to things being made by hand.
Okay, thank you very much. That is the end of the speaking test.
Right, thank you.